it would be like John Mayer, Axl Rose, Guns N' Roses, Don Henley from the Eagles, who's I think, an amazing songwriter. But if you go to hip hop too, there are a lot of people in hip hop who, I don't know. People around here. I don't hang around with the people here that are in my genre of music per se, because there's a certain kind of image that comes with it here. People think that when you're singing songwriter, you need like a little hat, a scarf, and glasses, and be very like I'm depressed, but
like mellowish and stuff. Yeah.
What? Sorry.
I'm saying like you have to be like very mellow, like type person to be in in the music that you're doing, but like I never got that. I feel like it's kind of being like it's like a stereotype. Like you don't have to be like that. I know some people who are in bands, but if you talk to them, you'll think they did like hip hop or something. You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
So it's not always like that. So I feel you when it comes to that.
Yeah, and I think that could be an edge in the creative process, because the people who made my video clip are all people who are into hip hop. They're all rappers and they all love video clips. So they approached my video clip, like my music video, a lot different than a typical singer-songwriter director would. Because there's a different way of looking at things, because they're coming from a different subset of music. Yeah, which is great, because I don't know, I think I pull influences from everywhere, man. If I hear like an African beat that I like, I'm gonna write a song on top of that.
Yeah.
If I hear this like really dreamy piano, I'm gonna write a song with a dreamy piano. So basically, whatever feels good and whatever feels like it could have a little bit of hope in it, because that's something I really try to communicate, is just a little bit of hope in every song, even if it's sad. There's a little hope in it. Yeah.
So who are your top 5 or top hip hop artists right now of all time?
Of all time? Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I'm gonna be that really cliche guy and put Eminem on 1.
I love Eminem is in my top 5. He number 1 for me too. So
there's still though, like, people are I don't know if have you read his reviews of his new album?
I'm like, it's kind of crazy because in a couple episodes ago, a few people actually heard it. I told them I was afraid to listen to it because of the reviews. Like,
exactly,
it was some people. It was some people that was like, "Oh, his lyrics was good, but the production wasn't where it's at." And there was some people that it was actually some people that said they liked it. So I was like, I still have to wait a while for me to like actually listen to the project, so
so you can go in with like clean ears or clean conscience.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, that's I don't know. It's so like at 2, I would put definitely 2 is like Kendrick Lamar. I don't know, man. That just ever since I heard him in Grand Theft Auto 5, I was like, what's going on here? So. Let me think. So at 3, I would put, and this is gonna sound really corny.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to call him. I don't know if he's a rapper per se, but I really love The Weeknd. I don't know if he's a rapper though.
The Weeknd,
R&B. Yeah.
Weeknd is kind of. I mean, he could
like R&B, like.
Yeah, like he's like he's not that far from it. Just to put it that way, like he's like. He's like in the hip hop like type realm. I call it if you could come up with like a category of music, he'll be like hip hop soul in a way.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's a good description. Yeah, hip hop soul. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So it's not 100% like rapper, but
but he's in there, like he's welcome, but. In our eyes, he will always be like an R&B artist, but because of the music that he brings up, like for my opinion, is like it's hip hop, but with a little bit of soul and kind of darkness to it, So
yeah, that's exactly what I like. He has like this sinister feeling in some of his songs that I just, it makes me want to jump in my car and drive at night on the highway, just zone out and just drive. A song like "Reminder," for example, is a great example.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great song that is just and Drake is in the music video, so you're like, what? He's hanging with Drake, but you're not sure if it's in the same genre. Drake is there, but they're buddies.
Yeah, I mean, they all from Canada, so they all
that makes
support.
Sense. Yeah.
So who's your next one?
So recently, it's not recently. It's been like 5 years. I really like Macklemore because he's I don't know. There's something really interesting about his way of approaching hip hop and approaching rap, and his themes are very interesting. But at the same time, they can be very like wacky, which I loved about Eminem. The whole wacky part of Eminem is one of the reasons I love him.
I never understood why people never really liked Macklemore. Like for me, I love Macklemore because he's different. Like. He's like one of them artists that's like you need that, like he's like a refresher, because P Diddy said it a couple weeks ago that he feel like hip hop is diluted, and I get what he meant, because the fact that it's artists that copy and paste each other, but it's still some artists out here that's different. And Macklemore is in that category where he's different. You know what I'm saying? Kendrick is different, even though Kendrick to me, he's like he reminds me of Tupac a lot. He's like our generation of Tupac. Same thing with J. Cole. J. Cole is different, but he reminds me of Nas a lot. So
definitely.
But it's still artists that like. They may have heavy influences from other artists, but they're different. Like Eminem was influenced by Redman and stuff, and Ludacris was influenced by him too, and Big Sean. Like you hear in their flows, but they're still different. So it's like we need that. In music in general, we need that. So
yeah. I remember the whole video of Snoop Dogg. Getting angry. He was like, I despise all these people going like, yeah,
it's true.
And there's a certain, I don't totally despise that, because if you do it well enough, it's fucking cool. But yeah, it's like you said, it becomes a copy paste thing. It becomes like a cookie cutter. Like, okay, this works. This is a formula. Let's do it. And if you don't follow that formula, people can be like, "Oh, wow, that's weird," but it's still good. That's why I think good music will always survive. Like good music, people will always find good music.
So, after the EP, will you drop an album, or will you drop a couple more EPs?
Yeah. So that's exactly the plan. I'm gonna drop more EPs. I'm gonna use this EP to tour around the United States, and if people are gonna come up to me and be like, "Hey, do you have an EP or an album?" I'm gonna give it to them for free. So everyone listening who's gonna ever visit me, I'm gonna give out my EP for free everywhere. I just want to get like a following. I just want to reach as many people as I can with my music, and then based off of that, I'm gonna record a second EP and release that one. Yep, and then try to come back to the States, because my goal is to make it in the United States, which is a pretty hefty goal, but I'm not dead yet, so I'm gonna keep
you can still do it. Like it's a lot of artists that came over from overseas and they succeeded. Like it's. Exactly. I just feel honestly, I feel like I said earlier, like we spoke about it, like networking. As long as you keep networking and meet new people and keep the same relationships, like you will get it. You'll be successful.
Thank you. Yeah. That I think that's all it comes down to, is just have a network and have like love for the thing you do, and then just combine those two. Because in a small town like this, people can like really backstab each other, which is which is horrible.
That's that's everywhere though.
We should help each other out,
Yeah, but that's everywhere though. Like I'm from Miami. It's like I want to say backstab, but it's like if you make it, a lot of people would automatically be like, oh, you have to you have to open up doors for me and stuff. Like, nah, like it's a work thing, you know. Same thing in New York and LA, you know. Even like I heard it from the islands and other countries, like, you know, and even Canada, you know. Like, you have to realize that yes, one person made it, but they made it for them, but also they made it for the city. But that all means that you have to stop working hard.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, you still
and be like, I got it.
Yeah, you have to keep going. Like, because even that person that made it, they keep going. You know, they still working. They still doing what they have to do to progress in their career. You know, in their lifestyle and things like that. So I feel like that's one of the problems, you know, with artists nowadays is that, you know, they probably in a group and one of the people make it and they just be like, you know what, I made it too, but you still have to work hard, you know. So
exactly, yeah,
it's just
people who just like in like a kind of entourage who think that they can just like and
it's not like that. It's not like that, man. It's not.
Yeah. I heard like comedians be like, so you have this comedian called Sebastian Maniscalco, it's just hilarious. And they asked him like, hey, how many people do you travel with? Like, how many people are in your team? And he's like, it's just me and my sound guy. and the host is like, what? And he said, well, you know, I know comedians who travel around with like 10 people, but he said like half of those people don't even belong there. Like they're good guys, and it's all well when you're hanging out with them, but it feels more like you have to take him instead of like a sensible business decision, you know.
So one, yeah, that's true. Cause that's another thing. Like business wise, you know, just like what Swiss Beats say, like the music industry is 95% business and 5% music. So when I heard that, you know, it's always one of the main important things is to always make sure that you brand yourself right. You know, you continue to make music, and like I said, like that's when everybody's gonna come to you. Like, you don't have to worry about managers right now because they're gonna want to come to you and
hopefully, man. Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to get to. Yeah, that they're gonna show interest in me instead of me having to be like, please like me or whatever. Yeah,
it's gonna come. So, but what cities do you want to perform at in the States?
So I'm gonna split it up into like East Coast and West Coast. So it's gonna be like New York. It's gonna be like Miami. It's gonna be like, I'm gonna go inwards a little bit and go like let's think. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna even go to Atlanta because I got a couple of friends there. So I'm gonna drive a lot. So when I'm going to drive, I'm going to vlog everything. So I'm going to update people and play everywhere. And then I'm going to go to the West Coast, and that's really the part that I'm focusing on. It's going to be like Seattle, and then it's going to be like Portland, Oregon, Los Angeles. Maybe even try to get to Nashville. That's the whole other way. So, you know, but I'm still trying to work it out. But those cities, those like hubs of like creativity, I'm going to try to visit them, visit my friends who are there, and, you know, even play on the street. Play on the subways in New York and stuff. I'm trying to work on permits right now because you can do that online. I just want to bring my music to the people like everywhere I can. So I'm going to try to be in every city in 3 months that I can be, like in as much cities as I can.
And when
I'm going to finish up in LA.
Yeah, you got to LA. I want to go to LA so bad. Like LA is like, don't get me wrong, Miami is great. Like Miami is like, you know, for you to come here, like exactly, like when you come, I can't wait. Like I'll show you around. Like, you know, we have different parts of Miami, you know, and even like Broward County, Palm Beach County, like, you know, we have Naples. That's like the west of us. So it's a lot. And Florida in general, like, you know, Orlando, Jacksonville, Tampa, Pensacola. Yeah. It's a lot of great things, but. LA to me, I feel like it's like that hub for, you know, creators, you know, like, you know, it's not just in music, but like, you know, for business, you know, for design and for fashion, you know, and like,
I think it's crazy how like 80% of the world's like entertainment is made in LA, which is bizarre if you think about it. But yeah, that's the same reason you gotta go there. You gotta be there. Yeah, it feels like that's the place where people get made or broken.